Good morning, everybody. It's time for Midweek Motivation Live with me, your host, Patrick Lee. I hope everyone is doing fine today. You know how this goes. We will be back with the show right after this. Good morning, everybody. Let me adjust this camera just a second. There we go. Awesome. I hope everyone is doing well today. Trying to make sure I look more at the camera than at the screen. I like to be looking at you. And I have a tendency to focus on the screen to make sure I am centered and keeping your attention. People tuning in already today to the show. Thank you, everyone that comes in and watches the show every week, Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee, motivating you to success in every area of life. Today, we're going to be talking about strategizing your life. Is that important and why? Thank you, everyone that watches the show. You know, we are available on all major podcast platforms now. Yesterday, I was talking to a business professional in the hall, and he says, yeah, I go to Stitcher and listen to podcasts. I've just started listening to podcasts. He's about my age, business professional, psychiatrist, psychologist. And he says, "Where I'm on Stitcher." I said, "I'm on Stitcher." He's like, "Hey, great." I'm like, "I'm on Stitcher. I'm on Spotify. I'm on iTunes. I'm live every Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. And then we hit all of the podcast channels, and we're around the world." Thank you, everyone that watches the show. Good morning, Pete. Multiple people already tuning in. Hello, Veronica. Good to see you on the show again today. Thank you, people, for tuning in. I want to talk to you today about having a strategy in your life. Is it important to have a plan for my life? Years ago, I was involved in an exercise, and this is going to set the premise of multiple things I have been listening to and books that I have recently read. Just read a great book this morning early, got up and read a book. I couldn't put it down. I was just going to get in a couple of chapters and ended up reading the whole book this morning before the show. And it jazzed me, energized me as well. And it wasn't necessarily on this topic, but the topics in that book continued to feed into the topic that I wanted to talk about. And it reinforced what I was already had planned to talk about. And that was, do you have a strategy for your life, and why should I have one? So I was involved in this exercise years ago in a business building group that I was in, taking some advanced classes in my industry in real estate. And one of the exercises they asked us to do was to close our eyes. It was a long, supposedly heart-wrenching exercise. And you close your eyes and you pretend or imagine in your mind's eye that you're climbing up, you're walking down a path. And as you're walking through this path, it leads you through a park and under the trees. And as you walk through the trees, the path narrows a little bit and you start to climb this hiking trail. It goes uphill a little bit. And as you start to go uphill, the path narrows even more. And eventually, as you're climbing this hill, that the path starts to get steeper and steeper as you go, and a little bit more troublesome, a little bit more labor for you to continue on this path. And as you continue to climb, the path then turns into a climb, like you have to use hands and feet to climb up this hill. You're actually climbing a mountain. And there are a couple of places along the path where there are people sitting there resting and said they just can't continue to go up. But you have determined that you're going to continue on this path. And as you climb this mountain, in your mind's eye, you're climbing this mountain, your breathing is hard, and you come to a short place to take a rest, and you come across an old man coming down the mountain, and he's pretty energized and very happy. And you're thinking, hey, if he's coming down the mountain, he's obviously made it to the top, and I can continue on as well. So you take off back on the journey, and you run into this old man who's coming down the mountain, and he stops you and calls you by name. And you're kind of surprised and taken aback. and he introduces himself as you in the future. And this is where the exercise that I thought would be fairly hokey, to be quite honest, where the exercise became very personal and emotional. And I've been involved in multiple occasions like this where this has happened. And I've been involved in a seminar. I've been in a group session. I've been at a convention listening to a keynote speaker, and that person has actually touched on something in my psyche, in my brain, in my heart, my soul, my spirit man, that has caused me to stop and think about my direction. And I have done multiple shows in the past about taking inventory of your life, how to move faster, not slower, the kind of actions that you need to take. The show is about finding success in every area of life. And this one is one of the areas that I think is important. In my mind's eye, I started to talk with my older self. He had some advice for me. And these were things that I wrote them down as I continued to sit there and imagine the things that he said to me. He explained to me and identified and laid out how my life went based on the path that I was on, and the things that occurred in my life, the good things and the bad things, and the successes that I had achieved. And I became more and more emotional as I continued to go through this process in my mind's eye, imagining what my older self had to say to me. And as I wrote those things down, it became this letter that starts out, "Dear younger me." And I wrote down, as we opened our eyes in the group, this instructor said, "Now I want you to take about a minute, up to, maybe 5 minutes. And I want you to write down the things that older you told you." And that was actually a pivotal moment in my life, as I started to write down these things. Many of them were very motivational and good. There were a couple of them that I admit I had to write down that I was not as happy with. Things in my life that I had not done, things that I had not achieved, areas in my life that I had dreams, desires, and goals set, but I didn't go for it in the manner in which I should have to achieve them. Does that make sense to you? And I was a little disappointed in myself, because at that point I self-realized and identified areas in my life where I was not giving it my all. And maybe you're not giving it your all today either in some areas of your life. Many of you are doing well financially, but you're not doing well physically. Many of you may be in great health, but you have great spiritual or emotional trouble. Baggage that you're carrying that you can't let go of. Relationships that need to be healed or need to be completely cut off. Boundaries that you have set that you do not stick to. Does that make sense to you? And I learned through that exercise, and then through many others, that having a strategy for my life was actually something that was fairly important. As a matter of fact, without a strategy in your life, you are going to be like a ship without a sail. A ship that's a sailboat that doesn't have a sail simply goes wherever the water takes it, right? If you are a skilled sailor and you have a sail on your ship, you can actually turn the sail to make it catch the wind and direct your boat in the direction, to make your boat go in the direction that you want. I hope this is touching some of you. Maybe some of you watching the show have done exercises like this in the past, and they changed your life kind of like they did me. But this letter that I wrote to myself from older me to dear younger me listed a couple of areas in my life that I was not fulfilling the things that I wanted in life. I had not achieved the financial goals that I wanted to achieve yet, but I was on the path to achieve many of them. And I have made course corrections multiple times in the past few years since that exercise. And I have learned throughout life, in the last few years especially, that a simple course correction now can alter the destination drastically years down the road. If you look at the radius of a circle and you are going to draw a straight line from the center of the circle out to the outer edge of that circle, it becomes pie shaped if you move it a small amount, right? If you move that line just a small amount, a fraction of an inch in the middle of the circle, by the time it gets to the edge of the circle, it's much farther away than it was when you were drawing it the first time. It's like the numbers on a clock. If you have a line being drawn from the middle of the clock where the hands meet to number 3, and you move that up just a tiny hair, it's a much larger difference at the edge of the clock. It could be 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Does that make sense? So small course corrections can actually cause great successes or failures in your life. So we have a decision constantly of which direction to go, what kind of course corrections we need to make. And those all fall in line for having a strategy for your life. Without a strategy in life, you basically have no goals, dreams, or destinations. If you don't have a destination, any road will do, right? If you don't know where you're going, it really doesn't matter what road you take. You can continue to stumble along and go down the same road that you're on, or you can set a goal and a destination. And when you plug it into your GPS in your smartphone, hopefully that smartphone is going to take you, that map is going to take you in the direction that you want to go. I have been led astray by Google Maps a couple of times, and many of you probably have as well. However, generally, if you have a destination, you set it into your maps, it will take you where you need to go, and it will direct you to the road that you need to be on. It'll also direct you to the road that's going to get you there fastest, and then provide some alternate routes. But if you don't have a strategy, you truly don't have a goal. And you would say, Patrick, what kind of areas do I need a strategy in? I think you need to have a financial strategy. I think you need to have a relationship strategy for social life, and you need to have a physical strategy for your health. It's not going to do any of us any good to get to the end of our years or the sundowner stage or the sunset years of our life in poor health. It also won't do us any good to get to those years and possibly be in good health and have no finances to show for the efforts we have done. So starting where you are is a good place to start. Yesterday was the best time to start, or last year, but the second best time to start is today. What do I need to do to start, to plan a strategy for my life? And I've shared this plan, this strategy with you many times in the past. Make a spreadsheet of the pros and cons of the things that you want to achieve in life. But start with maybe it's your health or your finances. Depends on your age. Many people are further along in their financial life than they may have thought they would have been, or they're in a good place financially. That's good for them, and they're comfortable there. But you have other areas in life that are lacking. Start with that next area. Maybe it is your health, your physical well-being, or your mental well-being. Start in those areas and start making a plan. Make a spreadsheet of the goals you want to achieve in that area of your life. And then once you have made these goals and set these plans in place, you work backwards and you deconstruct what that plan looks like. If I want to be healthier 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, well, if I want to have lost 20 pounds 5 years down the road, what kind of calorie intake am I going to need to intake every day to reduce the amount of calories, but possibly increase the amount of protein and the amount of exercise? How many times a week am I going to be able to commit an hour or two to hit the gym or stay home and do physical exercise? Things that will benefit my health. Do I need to start a new supplementation program? Do I need to start taking some products, some vitamins and supplements that are actually going to improve my cardio health? Do I need omegas? All the good fish oils that are good for you, right? If you have a cholesterol issue, the omegas are great for you. You may need more protein. You may need to supplement with some other things to help your body get the nutrition that it wants. You want to put in a diet plan and say, these are the kind of foods that I'm going to eat that are going to most benefit my body and reduce inflammation, reduce stress on my mind and my bloodstream, and then at the same time, build muscle, build endurance, and get in your cardio, because all of those things strengthen the heart, right? Many people, when they reach their older age, they have about 3 things that start going out on them. And I believe, I'm not going to say if, But I'm going to say, given the chance that you do not contract cancer, that some older people do, a lot of people do, if cancer set aside, there are pretty much three other areas in life that our bodies start to fail, and that is in our organs. Our heart, most of the time, it will become heart disease, some kind of a heart issue, water on the heart, an enlarged heart, heart attacks, strokes, things in the bloodstream. Number two, it's generally inflammation, and inflammation in our joints and bones. Arthritic problems come from all of that, right? And then you suffer from extreme pain. Many people now call it fibromyalgia. I think fibromyalgia is probably diagnosable, if that's a word, but most of it comes from some kind of inflammation process, or that many times our diet, the things that we ingest into our body, causes. And if we can learn how to eliminate those things, like alcohol and certain foods that cause inflammation, we can eliminate a lot of those things. If we learn to reduce our cholesterol and eat healthy foods, then we're going to have a stronger blood system, eliminate the cholesterol from our body, bad cholesterol, and we're going to have a stronger heart and reduce the risk of a heart attack at an older age, right? And then the third thing is our mental faculties start to go. So those three things: your heart, your joints, inflammation causing arthritis in your joints, and then your mental acuity starts to suffer. So if you put a plan in place to increase your health in all three of those areas, you have a strategy in life of how you're going to attack all of those and move forward with success. That's a great strategy for your health. And then if you're, like we said, starting out that your finances are in shape, then you're going to want to look at your social life, your interaction with others. How am I going to have a strategy to have a great support system in the future of friends, family, those people that are in my sphere that we can all share with, learn from, and have relationship with in the future? That's a very important part of the strategy in your life. We talk about your top 5 many times here on the show. Are the people in your top 5 your closest friends and confidants? Are they going to be people that are going to stick with you into your older years? Are they going to be around and help you write that letter to dear younger me? Because they helped you along and linked arms with you, and you linked arms with them. And in your 80s and on, maybe into your 90s or 100 years old and more, you have relationships with people that you all share this life with, and you help lift each other and build each other up. And that keeps your mind strong, which is part of your health. But it also helps keep your body strong. You encourage each other to go walk, to play games, to do things, to have contests against each other, to increase your mobility, to increase your relationships, your ability to think, because those things are important as we get older. Many of the things that we eat in our life cause dementia. And we know now that many of the foods and the different things that we intake are a contributing factor to dementia and loss of memory in our older age. So we need to have a strategy for that. And maybe you don't have the financial strategy in place, and you're already 30 or 40 or 50 years old or more, and you don't have a financial strategy. And you have been saying, well, I have gotten along thus far pretty good, and I'm sure that my future will be just as good. One catastrophic illness can wipe out your finances. One catastrophic financial mistake can wipe out your finances. One lawsuit, one car wreck, one slip and fall and you break a hip, and if you're uninsured properly, can wipe out your finances. So if you've just gotten along okay up until now, what makes you think you will do better in the future? So you need a financial strategy. I didn't have a financial strategy when I was younger. My financial strategy I learned at about 14 or 15 was work hard. That was my financial strategy. If I work hard, I will be successful and I'll have a good life. So I always tried, as a very small man, I always tried to outwork those around me because I was so small. So I actually took risks with my health, and I abused my body heavily when I was a younger baker. working in supermarkets and different places that I worked. And I always tried to outlift everyone else. And I tried to do all of the work physically by myself. And then a bunch of old men told me to work smarter, not harder. And I learned to start taking care of my body. I still bear the effects of those years of working in the bakeries and different careers that I've had where I abused my body. I'm 59 now, and I'm in relatively good health. And I like to say I walk in divine health because I believe God that he's going to take care of me into my older years. But I also do watch what I eat. And those of you that know me and work with me know that I'm fairly, I'm a carnivore for sure. I love a good steak, but I also love chicken and fish, and I do take supplements every day. I have supplements that I've just taken and loaded up with this morning, and I have supplements in my water. Throughout the day, I supplement and take things to help my heart and to help my body, and to help me, I increase my protein intake, and I take omegas to take care of my heart, my bloodstream. So I do watch what I eat as well, and I'm taking steps because I have a strategy to live long. I experienced my father dying of cancer at 82 years old, and my mother is now 82 and lives in a nursing home in Oregon. And she has arthritis, inflammation, a pacemaker, and 100% heart failure. And without the pacemaker, she would no longer be with us. And I am thankful for the technology that allowed her to get the heart implant, the pacemaker, and still be with us. But I want to make sure to the best of my ability that I have a strategy to live long, right? The Bible says, my beloved, I want you to, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Peter says, eating Cody Blair's wings at his restaurant. Yes, fire slice wings. I eat chicken a lot, chicken wings, good for the soul, the mind, and the body. So yes, I want to have a strategy to live long and prosper. The Bible says, my beloved, it's my desire that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So the theme of the show is motivating you to success in every area of your life really kind of follows along with that. He wants you to prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So that's financial, health, and spiritual, relational. All three parts that we're just talking about today, the strategy. So God had a plan from the very beginning for us to have. Everyone says this a lot, and maybe someone has told you this. God has a great plan for your life. And then we read the verses in the Bible about the graduates, and God has a plan for you to have a future. His goal is for you to have a future, a good future for you. And we talk about this all the time. You have a great gift in your life. You have a great plan for your life. You're going to do great things in your life. But how many of you know that without a strategy to get there, chances are you're not going to get where you need to go? That's why it's important for you to put a plan in place. Our next topic on the screen, time is of the essence. What does that mean? I had a boss talk to me about that years ago, and he said that term, and I nodded my head like I knew what it meant, and I set about doing the task at hand. And he came back and he says, "I told you time is of the essence." I said, "I know." He said, "Well, you're not moving very fast." I said, what does that mean? He said, "Time is of the essence." I'm like, "The essence of what?" It means hurry up. That's what he told me. He was like, "Patrick, it means hurry up. It means we have a very short time to get this done. Time is of the essence. The essence, the very gist of what we're doing is it's time sensitive. We have to get this done in a timely manner for it to be effective, for us to be successful." So the later you are in life, the more that fact is true. Time is of the essence. I'm 59. If I want to retire at 65, and I probably won't, because I'm going to be healthy for a long time. And as long as I can continue to help people, I will continue to be active and do things. I may not always be doing residential real estate sales transactions, but I will if I want, because I can. People retire when they have enough of what? Money? Money and health? Money, health, and time? Generally money. People retire when they have enough money. I think and this is probably while I work a long time, I came up with the definition of retired years ago. And retired to me just simply means tired all over again. I'm retired. I was tired working 40 years for a job, and now I've retired. But if you don't have enough money to retire, you have to go out and get another job after you've retired from your first job. Why would you agree to that kind of a life? Is that what you really want to do? Do you want to be? They don't have them anymore, but it used to be Walmart greeters, and now they have someone there checking you to make sure you're not stealing anything, or if you're competent enough to check out your own groceries, which is another story we'll talk about. But what do you do in the movie White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, and they go up to Vermont, and their old general from the Army runs a failing ski resort, and the song is "What Do You Do with a General When He Stops Being a General?" That's a song that always hits me in my heart. I don't know if it does you too. It may. But what do you do when it's time for you to retire and you don't have any money? You say, well, I've got some Social Security. I worked all my life. I've got Social Security. So you want to retire on $1,800 a month? How are you going to live on that if your house isn't paid for? You don't have a dependable vehicle that's paid for. You don't have any investments to supplement your income. You can't. You struggle by because you didn't have a strategy. That's what time is of the essence mean. I'm 59. I plan on working for a long time because to me, it's not really work. I'm going to work as long as I want because I can, because I want to help people. But I'm going to continue to buy investment properties, and those investment properties are going to give me money into perpetuity. And I would like for something like that for you as well. Many of you on the show are business owners. Thank you, Cody. You are awesome as well. We appreciate all of you guys. Cody's top 5, baby. I'm just telling you, Cody's good people. So you guys take this to heart. I'm serious today with you. Time is of the essence. Strategize your life. Put together a plan for your finances. Put together a plan for your health. Put together a good strategy for your relationships and your mental acuity into the future. I believe you can do it. I'm doing it, or I wouldn't tell you to do it. If you don't have a goal, any road will get you there. Think about that. Think about that. Your bonus tip. I've got one more tip. We just talked about this, so I'm going to add this. Happy and healthy or sick and broke, you choose. That is the choice today. When you get into your older years, when you reach the time in your life that most people would say you need to slow down a little bit, maybe that is retirement age. Maybe that's 60, 65, 70, or 75. I know people today that are 70 still working. I have a friend at church that's 90 and still works. He's already collecting 2 retirements. He's working on his 3rd retirement because he's still healthy enough to continue to work, and he drives himself to and from work every day. So is that who you want to be? Do you want to be doing that at 90? Maybe, maybe not. Perhaps you want to be golfing or traveling the world or sitting on a beach in the Bahamas, drinking a Cuba Libre. I don't know what your goals are. Perhaps you want to be a motivational speaker or a preacher, and you want to be preaching up until you're 90 or 100, traveling around helping people. Maybe you want to be teaching and coaching the younger people and writing letters to the younger people about success and what kind of strategy it took to help you achieve that. But happy and healthy or sick and broke are your 2 choices, and you get to choose. And I would ask you to choose today and choose wisely. Bonus tip, you are the captain of your destiny. I pray you set the sails on your ship to get you to the goal that you have set for yourself, and that you take action today. Remember, courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. So get uncomfortable today. Take courage and go out and strategize your life. Hey, this has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. I appreciate you coming to watch the show. I love all of you. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in, downloading the podcast. We just reached another milestone last week. I was notified of the hundreds of downloads of Midweek Motivation Live that have happened through my website, Buzzsprout, that we use to upload this to all major podcast platforms, and we have literally have hundreds of downloads of the show. I'm very grateful for that, and growing the YouTube channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure and subscribe to the channel and click on the subscribe bell, the notifications bell, and you'll get notified every week when we go live with the show. If you're watching this anywhere else, Facebook, LinkedIn, on any social media platforms where this is live, click the link to my digital business card created by Content Cards in the comments below this video, www.patricklee.work, and that will get you into my social media platforms, a link to my calendar. If you would like to talk to me about potentially buying a home, selling a home, or investing in real estate, that is how I finance the show and my life, part of my strategy to have a successful, happy, and healthy future. And I would love to talk to you about your real estate needs. Click on the link in the comments below the video. And until next show, I will see you soon. I love you. Bye-bye.